Did you know there's a part of Northern California that's literally moving toward Alaska a few centimeters every year? Or that this region is home to the oldest lake in North America, estimated to be around 2.5 million years old? You may have lived in Northern California your entire life and think you've seen it all, but this region hides far more than most people realize. Today we're exploring 35 geography facts about Northern California, and some might surprise even those who've spent decades calling this place home. Fact 35. The dormant titan of Northern California, Mount Shasta, located in Siskiyou County, stands as a massive stratovolcano that dominates the northern landscape. Rising 14,179 feet above sea level, it is not merely a single mountain, but a complex of 4 overlapping volcanic cones. The most recent eruption occurred approximately 3,000 years ago, yet geological monitoring suggests that it remains active with the potential for future eruptions. Glacial activity persists on its slopes, with 7 named glaciers including the Whitney and Bolam glaciers, which are among the largest in California. These ice masses provide essential water runoff for the surrounding agricultural valleys throughout the dry summer months. The volcano is monitored constantly for seismic activity because its eruptive history includes massive debris avalanches that have reshaped the landscape for dozens of miles in every direction. This iconic landmark serves as a testament to the tectonic forces that created the Cascade Range over millennia. Fact 34. The largest plug dome volcano, Lassen Peak, situated in Shasta County, holds the distinction of being the largest plug dome volcano in the world, rising 10,457 feet. This volcanic feature is part of the broader Lassen Volcanic National Park, an area defined by hydrothermal features like fumaroles, mud pots, and boiling springs. The volcano experienced a significant eruption sequence between 1914 and 1917, which remains the most recent volcanic event in the Cascade Range outside of Washington state. This event transformed the surrounding landscape, covering it in volcanic ash and debris. The park preserves this scarred terrain, which serves as a living laboratory for geologists studying post-volcanic succession and soil formation. The park area remains volcanically active, fueled by magma chambers deep beneath the surface that continue to heat the hydrothermal systems found throughout the landscape, creating a dynamic geological environment for researchers and visitors alike. Fact 33. The tallest trees on Earth, Redwood National and State Parks, stretching across the coast of Del Norte and Humboldt counties, protect some of the most ancient and tallest ecosystems on Earth. Coastal redwoods, or Sequoia sempervirens, thrive in the unique temperate rainforest climate provided by persistent Pacific Ocean fog. These trees can reach heights exceeding 380 feet, relying on the coastal fog to provide water during the rainless summers. The geography here is defined by steep coastal bluffs and lush river valleys that have remained largely protected from industrial harvesting. The complexity of this ecosystem involves not only the trees themselves, but also the fern-covered forest floor, which supports a diverse array of wildlife. This specific environment represents a narrow climatic niche that has existed for millions of years, allowing these biological giants to dominate the regional landscape without peer, serving as a sanctuary for species found nowhere else on the continent. Fact 32. The deepest alpine lake basin, Lake Tahoe, straddling the border of Placer and El Dorado counties, is a gargantuan body of water formed by the collision of tectonic plates and subsequent glacial sculpting. Reaching depths of 1,645 feet, it ranks as the second deepest lake in the United States. Its basin was created by faulting, where the land between 2 parallel faults dropped, and subsequent glaciers carved the landscape into a massive bowl. The water clarity is legendary, historically allowing visibility to depths of over 70 feet, though environmental changes have impacted this over time. Surrounded by the high peaks of the Sierra Nevada mountains, the lake acts as a massive heat sink that moderates the climate of the surrounding basins. The lake's geological age and isolation have contributed to its unique ecological stability and iconic visual appeal, making it a critical subject for study among geologists. Fact 31. The oldest lake in North America, Clear Lake, located in Lake County, is recognized as the oldest lake in North America with an estimated age of 2.5 million years. Unlike many other lakes in the region that were formed by glacial activity, Clear Lake was created by complex tectonic movements and volcanic processes associated with the Clear Lake volcanic field. The lake sits at an elevation of 1,329 feet and is naturally nutrient rich, which supports a vast array of aquatic life. Geologists note that the lake basin has been continuously filled and drained drained by shifting volcanic barriers over millions of years. It serves as a critical habitat for native fish species and migratory birds. This body of water remains a rare geological treasure because it has survived for millions of years, unlike most lakes which fill with sediment relatively quickly. Fact 30. The Canyon of Ancient Ferns. Fern Canyon, situated within Prairie Creek Redwoods State Park in Humboldt County, is a profound example of extreme erosion and ancient vegetation. The canyon walls, which rise 50 to 80 feet high, are completely draped in 7 species of ferns, some of which are direct descendants of ancient plant life that existed millions of years ago. The canyon was carved by the relentless flow of Home Creek, which has sliced through layers of sedimentary rock over thousands of years. This narrow, humid chasm creates a microclimate that remains cool and damp even during the heat of summer. Because of its unique geological and biological features, it has served as a filming location for various prehistoric themed movies. This location is an extraordinary remnant of a much older landscape, surviving because of the specific stability of the localized, moisture-rich environment that persists within the forest. Fact 29. The Subterranean Lava Tube Network, Lava Beds National Monument, located in Modoc and Siskiyou counties, features one of the highest concentrations of lava tubes in the continental United States. These underground tunnels were formed by volcanic eruptions from the Medicine Lake volcano, where rivers of molten basalt cooled on the surface while the interior remained liquid and eventually drained away. Today, more than 800 of these caves have been documented, ranging from short passages to tunnels extending thousands of feet. The interior of these tubes remains at a constant temperature, creating a unique environment for specialized cave-dwelling organisms. Some caves contain ice formations that last throughout the year, even in the high desert heat of the summer months. These geological structures provide a detailed record of the region's intense volcanic history, offering insights into how molten rock interacts with the surface landscape over geologic time, creating a unique and fragile underground ecosystem. Fact 28. The Marble Peaks of Klamath. The Marble Mountain Wilderness, found in the Klamath National Forest of Siskiyou County, is defined by its unusual geology, characterized by extensive deposits of white marble that have been uplifted and eroded. This rugged range offers a stark contrast to the surrounding volcanic and granitic mountains of Northern California. The high elevation peaks, some reaching over 8,000 feet, are interspersed with dozens of pristine alpine lakes carved by ancient glaciers. The marble geology influences the chemistry of the water in these lakes, creating a unique environment for aquatic flora and fauna. Hikers often encounter dramatic limestone karst topography, which is relatively rare in this part of the state. The isolation of this wilderness area has preserved a diverse range of plant communities that are adapted to the specific soil conditions created by the weathering of these marble substrates, which have been tilted and shifted by tectonic activity. Fact 27. The Migrating Peninsula of Point Reyes. Point Reyes, located in Marin County, is geologically detached from the rest of the North American continent. The peninsula is located on the Pacific Plate, which is moving northward along the San Andreas Fault at a rate of several centimeters per year. This means that the landmass of Point Reyes is literally a migrating piece of the Earth's crust that is currently traveling toward Alaska. The coastline is defined by dramatic cliffs, coastal scrub, and protected bays that serve as vital refuges for marine life, including harbor seals and elephant seals. The fault line runs directly through Tamales Bay, creating a distinct geological boundary between the granite of the peninsula and the sedimentary rock of the mainland. This provides one of the most visible examples of tectonic plate movement on the planet, clearly visible through the differing rock types and vegetation that line the fault zone. Fact 26. The hydrological engine of California. The Sacramento River is the largest river system in California, flowing south for 400 miles from the Klamath Mountains to the Sacramento and San Joaquin Delta. This river system has played a central role in the shaping of Northern California's geography, carrying vast amounts of sediment from the Sierra Nevada and Cascade Ranges to form the rich alluvial soils of the Central Valley. Historically, the river underwent massive seasonal flooding, which deposited layers of silt that allowed for the development of diverse riparian forests and wetlands. Engineering projects, including levees and dams, have drastically altered its natural path and flood patterns over the last century. Despite these modifications, the river remains the primary artery for water distribution in the state. The river is the fundamental hydrological engine that sustains both the agricultural productivity and the urban centers of the state, connecting the mountains to the sea. Fact 25. The massive Shield Volcano. Medicine Lake Volcano, situated in Siskiyou Siskiyou County is a giant shield volcano that covers an area of over 800 square miles. While it lacks the iconic peaked silhouette of Mount Shasta, its broad, low-profile shape is characteristic of massive eruptions of fluid basaltic lava. The volcano has been active for at least 500,000 years and contains a massive caldera that was formed when the surface collapsed after magma was erupted from beneath. This volcanic complex is the source of many of the lava flows and tubes found throughout the surrounding regions. Because it is so vast and low in elevation, it is often overlooked by travelers, yet it represents one of the most significant volcanic features in the western United States. The volcano remains active, with potential for future eruptions that could impact a large geographic radius given the history of the region. Fact 24. The Jagged Sentinels of Stone. Castle Crags, located in Shasta and Siskiyou counties, are a series of jagged, vertical granite peaks that rise dramatically above the Sacramento River Valley. These formations are the result of granitic plutons that were pushed upward and subsequently exposed by intense erosion, stripping away the softer overlying rock. Reaching elevations of over 6,000 feet, these crags offer a stark contrast to the more rounded volcanic peaks nearby. The granite here is approximately 170 million years old, dating back to the Jurassic period. The sheer verticality of the formations creates steep gullies and cliffs that host specialized plant communities capable of growing in thin, nutrient-poor soil. The crags serve as a prominent geological marker, showcasing the intense tectonic and erosional forces that have shaped the Klamath Mountains into a rugged landscape of vertical spires and deep canyons that characterize this part of the northern state. Fact 23. The geologically isolated Lost Coast. The Lost Coast in Humboldt and Mendocino counties remains one of the most rugged and undeveloped stretches of the California shoreline. The geology of this region is characterized by the King Range, where the mountains rise abruptly from the sea, preventing the construction of major highways like the Pacific Coast Highway that hugs the rest of the state. Tectonic forces have pushed these coastal ranges upward at an incredible rate, creating steep, unstable bluffs that are prone to frequent landslides. This physical isolation has preserved a unique ecosystem of coastal prairie, Douglas fir forests, and riparian zones that have remained largely untouched by modern industrial development. The coastline is dynamic, with the ocean constantly reclaiming the land, creating a wild, shifting landscape that serves as a living example of how the Pacific Northwest coast looks without human infrastructure. It is a geologically active zone where land meets water in a dramatic, unfiltered display of power. Fact 22. The Massive Obsidian Flow. Glass Mountain, located in the Medicine Lake Highlands of Siskiyou County, is one of the most impressive volcanic features in Northern California, consisting of a massive flow of rhyolitic obsidian formed approximately 900 years ago during an explosive volcanic event. This flow created a literal mountain of black glass that covers hundreds of acres. The obsidian formed because the silica-rich lava cooled so rapidly that it could not crystallize, resulting in a smooth, glass-like rock that has been used by indigenous populations for thousands of years to create tools and arrowheads. The mountain is stark, barren, and visually striking, with jagged edges and large boulders of volcanic glass that shimmer in the sunlight. It serves as a reminder of the recent and violent volcanic history of the region, where molten rock reshaped the terrain into a unique geological monument that continues to intrigue geologists and researchers studying volcanic processes. Fact 21. The rugged Trinity Alps Mountains. The Trinity Alps wilderness represents a spectacular display of glaciated granitic terrain in Northern California, offering some of the most complex topography in the region. Unlike the volcanic Cascade Range, the Trinity Alps are composed of ancient uplifted granitic batholiths that were carved by massive Pleistocene glaciers. These ice sheets hollowed out deep cirques and U-shaped valleys, leaving behind serrated ridgelines and jagged peaks that reach over 9,000 feet in elevation. The wilderness contains numerous alpine lakes nestled in basins gouged out by moving ice, providing a critical source of cold, clear water for the surrounding drainages. The geology here is a stark contrast to the surrounding metamorphic and volcanic rock, showcasing the diverse geological history of the Klamath Mountains. This area remains a critical habitat for diverse mountain flora and fauna, illustrating how glacial erosion can transform a solid granite block into a rugged, high-altitude paradise. Fact 20. The threat of Cascadia subduction. The Cascadia subduction zone presents a profound geological risk to the Northern California coast, specifically where the Juan de Fuca plate slides beneath the North American plate. This offshore fault line has the potential to generate massive earthquakes exceeding magnitude 9, far larger than the typical tremors experienced along the San Andreas Fault. Historical records of sediment cores and indigenous oral traditions suggest that these massive subduction events occur on a cycle of roughly 300 to 500 years, causing major tsunamis that impact the entire Pacific Northwest coastline. The geological evidence of these past events is hidden in the layer of sand deposits buried beneath coastal marshes, which record the sudden submergence of the land during previous megaquakes. Scientists monitor this region constantly for signs of crustal deformation, recognizing that the northern coast sits on a volatile tectonic boundary that dictates the long-term survival and stability of the entire coastal environment. Fact 19. The unique Klamath River system. The Klamath River is a vital hydrological artery that carves through the rugged terrain of the Klamath Mountains, serving as a unique example of a river that predates the mountains themselves. While tectonic uplift pushed the Klamath Mountains upward over millions of years, the river maintained its course, slicing down through the rising rock to create deep, steep-walled canyons that have isolated the region for ages. This river system drains a vast area of Northern California and Southern Oregon, carrying significant volumes of water from the high mountains to the Pacific Ocean. Its path is characterized by rapids, waterfalls, and pools that sustain a complex riparian ecosystem, including migratory salmon populations that are central to the regional biodiversity. The hydrology of the Klamath River is a testament to the power of water over geological time, showing how a consistent flow can overcome the tectonic forces actively building the mountain ranges across the state. Fact 18. The lava tube cave network. The Modoc Plateau is an expansive volcanic tableland in Northern California that is riddled with an extensive network of subterranean lava tubes and karst-like features. Formed by thousands of years of basaltic volcanic eruptions, the landscape is essentially a series of superimposed lava flows that have hardened into flat, rocky plains. Beneath the surface, the rapid cooling of lava created hollow conduits that now serve as complex cave systems, some of which maintain near-freezing temperatures throughout the year. These caves are not just geological curiosities, they are critical environments for sensitive wildlife, including various species of bats and cave-dwelling invertebrates that are found nowhere else. The geology of the Modoc Plateau demonstrates how volcanic activity can construct an entirely new landscape on top of older foundations, creating a surface that is both hostile to some forms of life and a perfect shelter for others hidden deep within the dark, rocky tunnel. Fact 17. The ancient fossils of Baird. The Baird Formation in Northern California offers a fascinating window into the Carboniferous period dating back over 300 million years. This geological unit is rich in marine fossils, providing evidence that the region was once covered by a shallow tropical sea long before the current mountain ranges existed. Paleontologists have discovered an array of ancient creatures preserved in the limestone and shale, including crinoids, corals, and brachiopods that thrived in the warm, nutrient-rich waters of that era. These fossils are instrumental in understanding the tectonic history of the region, as they were originally part of a different crustal block that was later accreted onto the North American continent. The discovery of these remains in the rugged terrain of the Klamath Mountains reveals a time when Northern California's landscape was entirely underwater, serving as a diverse marine habitat that has since been lifted, folded, and eroded to form the contemporary peaks and valleys. Fact 16. The Boiling Lakes of Lassen. The Boiling Springs Lake in Lassen Volcanic National Park serves as a striking example of active geothermal hydrology in Northern California. Located within a caldera that is still influenced by the residual heat of the Lassen volcanic system, this lake maintains a temperature that frequently hovers near the boiling point, with mud pots and fumaroles bubbling along its banks. The water is highly acidic due to the interaction between groundwater and volcanic gases, specifically sulfur dioxide and hydrogen sulfide rising from the magma chamber below. This harsh, extreme environment supports only specialized thermophilic microorganisms that thrive where most other life would perish. The lake provides a visible reminder of the thin crust that exists beneath the surface, where molten rock continues to heat the surrounding water table. It is a dynamic, changing landscape where the hydrology is constantly being reshaped by the volatile volcanic gases escaping from the depths of the earth. Fact 15. The Inland Sea of California. During the late Cretaceous period, the region that is now the Central Valley of Northern California was the site of a vast, sprawling inland sea. This massive waterway stretched between the rising Sierra Nevada mountains to the east and the Pacific coastline to the west, acting as a gateway for marine life. The sedimentary rock left behind by this ancient sea contains abundant fossils of ammonites, marine reptiles like mosasaurs, and early shark species that once patrolled the deep waters. As tectonic activity pushed the crustal plates together, the basin was gradually filled with millions of years of sediment and debris from the eroding mountains. This process created the rich, fertile soils that define the Central Valley today, turning an ancient oceanic floor into one of the most productive agricultural regions on the planet. The geological history of this area is a record of shifting coastlines and dramatic changes in global sea levels over time. Fact 14. The engineering of Whiskeytown Lake. Whiskeytown Lake, situated in the mountains west of Redding, is a prime example of large-scale hydraulic engineering that has fundamentally altered the natural hydrology of Northern California. Created by the construction of the Whiskeytown Dam as part of the Central Valley Project, this reservoir captures the water of Clear Creek, a major tributary of the Sacramento River. The engineering feat required the diversion of water from the Trinity River watershed through tunnels carved into the solid rock of the mountains, moving massive volumes of water to supply the agricultural and urban needs of the state. While the project achieved its goal of water storage and electricity generation, it also created a new artificial aquatic environment that has become a recreational hub. The reservoir's presence has changed local water temperatures and sediment transport, demonstrating the profound capacity of human infrastructure to reshape the physical geography and ecological function of a mountainous river system. Fact 13. The hydrology of Eagle Lake. Eagle Lake in Lassen County is a unique endorheic basin, meaning that it has no natural outlet to the ocean, making it a closed hydrological system. Situated on the edge of the volcanic Modoc Plateau, the lake's water levels are entirely dependent on a delicate balance between local precipitation, groundwater inflow, and evaporation. This isolation has allowed for the evolution of specialized endemic species, most notably the Eagle Lake trout, which has adapted to the specific alkaline chemistry and temperature conditions of this lake. Because the lake does not drain into any river, it acts as a massive repository for minerals and salts that accumulate over time, creating a distinct environment that differs significantly from the surrounding mountain lakes. The lake's survival is a testament to the unique geological setting of the region, where volcanic barriers have created a landlocked reservoir that persists despite the arid climate of the northern high desert landscape. Fact 12. The persistent North Coast fog. The persistent summer fog of the Northern California coast is a critical climatic phenomenon that regulates the temperature and moisture levels of the entire region, driven by the cold, southward flowing California current, which brings cool water from the North Pacific. The fog forms when warm air mass interacts with the chilled ocean surface. This marine layer is pulled inland by the pressure differential created as the interior valleys heat up during the day, covering the coastal bluffs and forests in a thick, cooling blanket. This natural phenomenon is the lifeblood of the coastal redwood ecosystem, as it provides consistent moisture to the trees through drip irrigation even when rainfall is non-existent for months. Without this daily fog, the coastal climate would be significantly drier and hotter, fundamentally changing the distribution of plant life and wildlife that have adapted to these specific humid conditions over thousands of years. Fact 11. The hydrothermal wonders of Lassen Peak. The hydrothermal wonders of Lassen Peak. Lassen Volcanic National Park is a landscape defined by its intense geothermal activity, which provides a vivid window into the molten processes occurring deep beneath the surface of Northern California. The area contains one of the most concentrated hydrothermal systems in the world, with bubbling mud pots, steaming fumaroles, and boiling springs that release gases from the magma chambers located miles beneath the Earth's crust. These features are not static, as they shift and change with the movement of groundwater and the fluctuations of heat flowing from the subterranean volcanic sources. The park showcases a diverse range of geological phenomena, including plug dome volcanoes, cinder cones, and lava flows that have shaped the terrain over thousands of years. This environment acts as a natural laboratory, allowing scientists to study how volcanic heat interacts with surface hydrology to create acidic, mineral-rich environments that support rare and specialized forms of biological life. Fact 10. The glacial sculpting of Trinity Alps. The glacial sculpting of Trinity Alps. The Trinity Alps wilderness is a breathtaking example of rugged, high-elevation topography that has been fundamentally carved by the immense forces of Pleistocene glaciation. These mountains are not composed of volcanic rock, but rather of ancient granitic batholiths that were thrust upward by tectonic collision and then exposed through millions of years of erosional weathering. During the colder periods of Earth's history, massive ice sheets flowed through the valleys, scouring the granite and creating the dramatic serrated ridges, deep U-shaped canyons, and crystalline alpine lakes that define the region today. The contrast between the sheer vertical rock faces and the lush high mountain meadows creates a complex landscape that supports a wide variety of alpine flora and fauna. This wilderness remains one of the most important reservoirs of water in Northern California, as the snowpack stored in these high peaks feeds the surrounding river systems throughout the year. Fact 9. The limestone caverns of Lake Shasta. The limestone caverns of Lake Shasta caverns offer an incredible subterranean perspective on the geological history of the region, featuring intricate limestone formations that developed over millions of years. Located within the Klamath Mountains, these caves were formed when acidic groundwater seeped through layers of ancient sedimentary rock, dissolving the calcium carbonate and creating a labyrinth of passages adorned with massive stalactites and stalagmites. The complexity of these formations provides a clear record of the area's paleoclimatic conditions, as the growth rates of the crystalline structures are influenced by regional temperature and moisture levels over immense spans of geological time. The caves are not merely static monuments, but living geological systems that continue to be shaped by the slow, constant dripping of mineral-rich water. These underground chambers serve as a sanctuary for specialized cave-dwelling organisms, providing a unique environment that remains isolated from the surface ecosystems that change rapidly with the seasons. Fact 8. The volcanic basin of Tule Lake. The volcanic basin of Tule Lake occupies a large, shallow basin in the northeastern corner of Northern California, acting as a historical catchment for the volcanic landscape of the Modoc Plateau. This region was shaped by massive basaltic eruptions that occurred over millions of years, creating a flat, rocky expanse interrupted by cinder cones and lava flows. The lake itself is the remnant of a much larger body of water that covered the region during the Pleistocene epoch, when cooler and wetter conditions allowed for extensive lake systems. Today, the basin is a vital stop for migratory birds, as the geography provides a rare mix of wetlands and volcanic scrubland that supports high levels of biodiversity. The geology of the area is also characterized by underground aquifers that draw water from the surrounding lava flows, maintaining a delicate hydrological balance in what is otherwise an arid and high desert environment that sees very little precipitation. Fact 7. The geothermal heat of Mount Shasta. The geothermal heat of Mount Shasta. Mount Shasta is not only a massive stratovolcano, but also a significant geothermal feature that reveals the dynamic tectonic setting of the Cascade Range. While the summit is covered in glaciers, the mountain is built upon a foundation of active volcanic processes, with hot springs and fumaroles located on its slopes, indicating that heat is still being generated deep within the plumbing system. The mountain's geological structure is a complex composite of overlapping cones, which have been built up by repeated eruptions of andesitic lava over hundreds of thousands of years. These eruptions have periodically reshaped the surrounding landscape, sending massive mud flows and debris avalanches down into the nearby valleys, creating the rich volcanic soils that support the dense forests found at the base of the peak. Scientists continue to monitor the volcano for any signs of seismic unrest, as its potential for future activity remains a critical factor in regional planning. Fact 6. The biodiversity of coastal ranges. The biodiversity of coastal ranges. The North Coast Range of California serves as a critical transition zone between the maritime influence of the Pacific Ocean and the drier, more continental climate of the interior. This geographical region is characterized by a series of parallel mountain ridges and valleys that are composed of sedimentary and metamorphic rocks, which were folded and faulted during the tectonic uplift that created the coastal ranges. The topography promotes the development of diverse microclimates, where fog, rainfall, and temperature vary significantly over very short distances, allowing for an extraordinary degree of plant and animal biodiversity. The steep slopes and deep ravines facilitate the transport of water from the mountains to the sea, fueling vibrant riparian ecosystems that are essential for the survival of many native species. This complex landscape acts as a refuge for sensitive organisms, maintaining high levels of biological richness even as the broader regional environment experiences shifts in temperature and water availability over time. Fact 5. The sedimentary aquifers of Central Valley. The sedimentary aquifers of Valley. The Central Valley of Northern California is fundamentally an enormous sedimentary basin where the accumulation of eroded material from the surrounding mountains has created deep, porous aquifers that store vast quantities of groundwater. Over millions of years, the rise of the Sierra Nevada to the east and the coast ranges to the west trapped a large volume of water in the low-lying basin, creating a massive saturated underground reservoir. The composition of these sediments, which include layers of clay, silt, sand, and gravel, determines the rate at which water can be extracted and replenished. This hydrological structure is the foundation of the region's agricultural success, as it provides a reliable source of water that transcends the seasonal variations of surface rainfall. The management of these aquifers is a complex challenge, as the extraction of water for irrigation has led to land subsidence, where the ground itself physically sinks as the porous underground layers collapse. Fact 4. The wave-cut coast of Mendocino. The wave-cut coast of Mendocino. The coastline of Mendocino County is a dramatic display of erosion where the persistent power of the Pacific Ocean has carved wave-cut platforms, sea stacks, and narrow coves into the rugged sedimentary bedrock. This section of the coast is geologically unstable, as the tectonic forces of the Pacific Plate continue to uplift the land, forcing the ocean to constantly reassert its boundary against the rising crust. The rock formations, which are often made of fractured sandstone and shale, are highly susceptible to the intense energy of winter storms, which can strip away sections of the cliffs and reshape the shoreline in a single season. This dynamic environment creates a unique set of coastal habitats, where marine and terrestrial ecosystems are in constant contact. The result is a wild, changing landscape that serves as a testament to the ongoing geological struggle between the rising land and the eroding force of the sea. Fact 3. The geothermal power of the geysers. The geothermal power of geysers. The geysers, located in the Mayacamas Mountains of Northern California, represent one of the largest and most productive geothermal fields in the world, powered by the intrusion of magma into the Earth's crust. This area is characterized by a high heat flow, where molten rock located deep beneath the surface heats the surrounding groundwater, causing it to rise as high-pressure steam. This natural energy source has been harnessed through massive engineering projects to generate electricity, providing a sustainable and reliable form of power for the region. The geology of the field is complex, with fractured rock allowing for the circulation of water between the surface and the deep heat sources. While the production of steam has been ongoing for decades, the field is carefully managed to maintain the pressure and temperature balance required to ensure long-term operation, demonstrating a successful integration of geological resources with human technological infrastructure for energy production. Fact 2. The old-growth forests of Northern California. The old-growth forests of North. The ancient forests of Northern California are an essential component of the regional geography, acting as both a carbon sink and a critical regulator of the local microclimate. These old-growth ecosystems, which include towering redwoods and dense Douglas fir stands, have evolved over thousands of years to thrive in the specific moisture conditions provided by the coastal fog and seasonal rainfall. The dense canopy structure helps to trap moisture, which then drips onto the forest floor and recharges the soil, creating a humid environment that is highly resistant to wildfires. This biological architecture creates a stable, cool microclimate that protects the underlying soil from erosion and provides a diverse habitat for numerous species of plants and animals. The preservation of these forests is not only a matter of ecological importance, but also a fundamental aspect of the region's geological stability, as the root systems help to bind the soil and prevent landslides on steep mountain slopes. Fact 1. The tectonic displacement of fault lines. The tectonic displacement of faults. The San Andreas Fault is the most prominent geological feature in Northern California, marking the boundary where the Pacific Plate moves past the North American Plate. This major fault line, and the associated smaller faults in the region, dictates the seismic risk and the landscape's evolution, as the ground is constantly being fractured and displaced by the lateral movement of the crust. The geological evidence of this movement is visible in the form of offset stream channels, sag ponds, and deformed rock layers that have been shifted hundreds of miles from their original positions over millions of years. The stress that accumulates along this fault is periodically released in seismic events, which have the potential to reshape the surface topography and impact the hydrological systems of the surrounding region. The ongoing movement of these tectonic plates ensures that the landscape of Northern California remains one of the most geologically active and dynamic environments on the entire planet. Which of these 35 facts about Northern California surprised you the most? Let me know in the comments.